Dearest friends and family, steam press your pocket square, carefully carry the cake over the hill, and entrust thousands of dollars worth of jewelry to a 3-year-old boy.
Because it's time to talk Tull to me.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Omen Thomas Sade.
And I am Nick McGill.
We are Feckless Momes.
And this is Talk Tull to Me.
A beautiful prog rock wedding in which Nick and I, the blushing brides, say our vows in front of all 100 ex-members of the band, Jethro Tull. Martin Barr officiates, Jeffrey Hammond bursts into tears, and finally, we get to be kissed by the bridegroom himself, Ian Anderson.
Glenn Cornick drinks a little too much and objects and has to be escorted out. So we have such a packed show today.
Yeah, we do.
We got to get right to it. But let's get into the wedding theme here.
Yeah.
What we alluded to last week / 2 weeks ago. Omen Sade is now Omen Thomas Sade because
I am off the market.
That's right. I'm sorry.
I've been husbanded up.
That's right. He's been hitched. I had the wonderful honor of doing the service. The 3-year-old boy, as referenced in the opening, was my son as the ring bearer.
Yeah.
And
he was great.
He was great. He dropped the box literally the second it touched his hands. But we recovered. He made it up the hill just fine.
It was, that time. I'm glad that we rehearsed.
Oh, yeah. When we rehearsed, he wiped out on a stick. Yep.
Yeah. It was a beautiful ceremony. I kind of held it together during the vows. I cried quite a lot, actually.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was very lovely.
It was good. The weather cooperated. So, yeah, if you hear an extra pep in my step, it is the dulcet sound of married life.
Matrimonial bliss.
Yeah, I'm blissed out.
So blissed. Okay, so we've got a bunch of stuff to get through. First things first, I suggest there is a new podcast out there called El Vinyl, ELVINYL, El Vinyl, like the Spanish version of vinyl, I guess.
El Vinal.
Their first episode, the host talks to Ian Anderson.
Whoa.
Yep, it's 48 minutes long. It makes me think that if Ian lives long enough for us to get to the end of this show, we can have an interview with him. I think he'll just say yes to anyone. But he talks to Ian. The first, it's a really good interview with Ian, to be honest. Yeah. He asks a question and Ian talks for like 7 minutes straight, just like building. That
sounds about right.
But it's not just rambling and nonsensical. It all pertains specifically to the question, and it's so informative and interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of stories that I really never heard of from Ian. So I would definitely check that out. It's the September 10th episode of El Vinyl. It is their first episode. I think their first was like a preview, so it's technically the second. But I would definitely look into that. It's 48 minutes of Ian. It's great.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that to the table. What else have we got here?
On top of that, we have a review to share, I believe.
Oh, it's coming in. Oh, hold on a second.
And Marley.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you for bringing that.
I'm so overwhelmed, Mr. Sade. I can't believe that you're a married man anew.
I know it's a big change.
I got you this frog as a wedding gift.
Is it a live frog?
No, it is not.
Oh.
It is not. It
Okay.
looks like it has seen better days.
It's tradition. Sleep with it under your pillow.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Oh, thank you. Oh, bye. Okay.
And as usual, Marley has just sheepishly shuffled in and slid my paperwork under the door. So
yeah, he doesn't like to be seen. All right, so what have we got here? All right. Yes, okay, we have a 5-star review.
Sir, sensors have detected another star in the sky.
Dear Lord, that's 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
We are 10 for 10 with those stars.
Hoops writes on Apple Podcast, I've loved Jethro Tull for a very long time, but never imagined there would be such a great and thoughtful podcast about their music. Love it! Find myself wanting to chime in. ... Very threatening ending there. But otherwise, thank you very much, Hoops, for sharing your enthusiasm and for those delicious 5 stars.
Thank you so much. The title of the review is amazing
and thoughtful.
Yes. Again, thank you.
Which
awesome.
do you think? Yeah.
You can be one and I'll be the other. Which one do you want to be?
I'll be thoughtful.
Yeah. And I'll be amazing.
Amazing. Okay.
All right.
What else do we have?
That's that. We've got 3 emails.
Your emails, sir.
Okay, yes. Andrew L. writes, the subject line, guests on Tull? ? Hey guys, stumbled across Talk Tull to me recently and immediately fell in love with it. Yeah, we have that effect.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I've been listening to Jethro Tull since I was 13. Listened to them near exclusively in my teens. Can relate.
Yep.
And still quite regularly partake. I'm 28 now. Do you ever need/want guests on to discuss particular songs? I understand tech is a limitation in such cases, but I thought I'd throw it out there, particularly as minstrel approaches. Or, if there's a song that's proving tough to crack, I'd love to offer some thoughts as a verbal nutcracker to maybe help crack it. At any rate, keep up the amazing and thoughtful work. Oh, another amazing and thoughtful.
Oh.
Andrew.
We're on. Oh, maybe Andrew is the reviewer of Hoops.
Is Hoops. Oh, could be. Well, so thank you very much, Andrew L., for your thoughts, and thank you for being a youth. We love seeing the young.
I mean, he's 28. He's not that young.
Hey, in Tull land, that is basically a newborn baby.
A new babe. We appreciate the offer, Andrew. We do. We right now we're kind of not set up to do guests, and I responded to you in the email, but so everyone knows. But we absolutely would appreciate people's opinions. We read all of our the emails that we get. So
I actually had a thought, Nick.
Yes.
What if instead of having people on, because that's a bit much, what if we had them, if they want to share their opinion about a certain song, record it on their app and email us the voice file and keep it to 30 or 45 seconds.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Send us a sound file, momes@fecklessmomes.com, or you can just write us an email. If you have a specific song that you really dig or you've always had kind of questions about or things like that, well, absolutely. We'd love to include it.
Or if you have a particular, a story about what that song means to you, record your voice and send it to us and just keep it under a minute.
I would definitely say under 30 to 45 seconds tops.
Yeah, keep it well under a minute.
Thank you. Yes.
And then we can look at them all and choose if we want to include them or if we can or if it makes sense, and we understand that you will not be offended if we don't, because you're all awesome and we have to, make the podcast in the best way that we think possible.
Yes. Yeah. And just make sure that you include your permission written in the email to include that. Just covering all our bases here.
That's great. Thank you, Andrew / maybe Hoops. And Nick, what else have we got there?
Next, we've got one from a listener naming themselves Abu Jethro bin Momes. The subject is Circle Line. This one is going to blow your head off, Omen. I decided specifically not to share this one with you because I think it's great. Circle Line. Feckless Momes. I'm your number one fan in the Middle East. I listen,
Whoa!
our probably only fan. 1 out of 1 is still 1. I'm your number 1 fan in the Middle East. I listen to Talk Tull to Me as soon as it's released, nice and fresh with my shawarma. I spread the word among the too few but dedicated Tull fans around here. You guys have really improved a lot since the first few episodes, and boy do we know it. You should do so much more. I would love to. Oh my gosh, Tiki.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I love the wittiness, and I've stolen many of your lines. That is the most flattering thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what anything we say would be quotable, but I appreciate it. Few things. I can't leave you a good review anywhere. I don't use iTunes or Apple Music. What options do Android users have? We had the same problem with Jacqueline. You know what, guys?
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. If you're not using like Stitcher or something that has that option, spread the word, spam email, spam us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want. And
we love it.
That's all I can offer. I really wish that it was easier for people who don't use Apple, but Apple is seriously like the fascist dictator of podcasts. So
Indeed.
just finished listening to Skating Away. Surely it's the Arctic Circle line. Global warming, ice caps. I never thought it was about London, but I like the idea. When I read that, I was like,
Wow.
oh my God.
Wow. That's amazing.
We've been doing a little too much deep thinking. Keep it up. My favorite song is the last one on .com.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that is, let's see, A Gift of Roses, which is a gorgeous song.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful song.
But you got to stick around until 10/24/2023 to hear us talk A Gift of Roses. But I'm sure you will have wrangled a whole horde of listeners for us by that point.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much, Abu Jethro bin Moms. I'm glad that you are helping to spread the momery in the Middle East. And some of my family history actually stretches. Yes, thank you, Tiki. Some of my family history actually stretches to the Middle East, and so it's wonderful to know that we have a fan over there. Thank you ever so much. If you can't review us on iTunes, I recommend graffiti on walls. Okay, so we have it looks like one more email.
One more email. Yep.
To read here. This is from Marcy F. Muff.
Marsif.
Massive. This subject line reads, Talk Tull to me. Well, I think we will, Marcy. Message reads,
You can't stop me.
Hi, I found your podcast after looking up the song Slipstream on Spotify. I've been a fan of Jethro Tull since I was 14. I'm 19 now. Nick, that is officially a youth.
That is officially youth. That is.
I've probably listened to Aqualung hundreds of times. Recently, I've been floored by the lyricism in Tull songs, more specifically, Slipstream. I loved both of your analysis of the song. I know I'm a bit late, but I would love to share my interpretation to fellow fans since it's been stuck in my mind for so long.
Please do. A perfect example for Andrew. Send us that email.
Exactly.
Send us, yeah.
Don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness.
That's right.
I think Slipstream is a greater metaphor for life and the nature of time. We're caught in the whirlwind of our affairs, at mercy of the products of wealth, what I believe to be greed. Spiritless and undying are the elite dynasties of those that govern us. Sadly, spirituality can only take us so far, as he hands you the bill, unaware of our tribulations and desperation. Tideless, unreasoning is time. I like that. The merciless passage of time makes victims of all of us. It is our job to find reason and paddle out of the mess. This song doesn't give you a second to breathe. It has an air of nostalgia, reflective but also hypnotic. Before you know it, it's over. I think Ian's father being ill struck a chord with him. See what I did there? I think it's great what you guys are doing. I love learning the context behind some of my favorite songs and hearing others' interpretations. Keep rocking, Marcy. Marcy, we will indeed keep rocking. And thank you very much for your interpretation of Slipstream. I think that is absolutely as valid and probably more succinct than anything that Nick and I said on the subject.
I am forced to agree. No, I'm not forced. I voluntarily
agree. And thanks as well for being part of the youth.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could make a TikTok about us before.
you could TikTok Tull.
TikTok Tull to me. Yes. I love it.
Marcy, how did you get into Tull?
Yeah, we want to know.
Please let us know. Whose album did you steal? Yep.
And
was it a CD?
And if it was
a
mine,
cassette?
please give it back.
I've been looking for that. All right, we are 15 minutes in.
Okay.
I think it's high time we get into the song for the week. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and listening to our fan love. We appreciate it. We appreciate the time. We appreciate the love.
We really do. So, Nick, speaking of that, what are we listening to this week?
We are listening to a song that you, Omen Said, have never heard before.
That is correct.
One that I myself have only heard probably 3 times.
Wow.
It is called Good Godmother. It is a bonus track off of War Child. That's right, we're still on War Child.
Oh my God.
We got 2 more weeks after this.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and have a listen to Good Godmother. Well, Nick.
Omen, first time hearing Good Godmother. Thoughts in like a sentence.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not that.
Yeah, it never in a world of saying this is going to be a Tull song that you've never heard before would I expect that. Not that it's bad per se.
No. I don't really know if we could say there are any bad songs.
Airplane.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. So but when it first started, I definitely was like, I actually thought maybe I had the wrong song. Because I thought, wait a minute, is this Tull?
It sounds like Rush to me. It's such a Rush sound, that guitar.
That is so interesting. Yeah, the guitar is very different than what we're used to.
Yeah, it's pedaled differently or filtered differently, something that I don't think we ever hear again.
There's some kind of a mix going on that is very atypical. And it could be that that maybe that's the reason it's not common to find on a lot of albums. Like maybe it was a mix that they weren't happy with. Maybe they were in a studio that they weren't happy with and they were like, screw it, we have other stuff.
I think it may even just come down to something that we've heard in previous songs that we've mentioned in previous songs, where it's like they try one thing and it just didn't work.
Right.
And we never hear it again for whatever reason, whether it's a technique or a pedal or a particular mixing. But even the flute in this, aside from that really crisp do 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 do, there's kind of a flute breakdown right before Come On, Miss Hatchet, where it's like this really wild, about halfway through, that sounds filtered, or can you put a pedal on a flute? I don't know.
You can, it'll just fall off.
It's right, yeah, it won't do a thing.
What you can do is you can there are flute mics, little mics that attach to the flute. You can also play the flute into a standing mic, and either of those you can put an effect pedal on.
Right.
So,
correct, yeah.
The thing that is so interesting about the flute for me is how dissonant that little hook is. Dun, 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 dun. That's a note that I think is not naturally in the scale. I think it's an accidental in terms of the scale that they're playing in.
Okay.
And it creates that strange dissonance right off the bat.
It sounds, not quite, but it sounds almost like kind of eerie circusy. It sounds like you could play it on the calliope and it would be okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, please.
Honestly, you could play anything on the calliope and I'd be okay with it.
You love a calliope.
I love a calliope and a harpsichord.
Yeah.
Those two together would cause nightmares for sure. Put in the glass organ and it's just game over.
All the bastard keyed instruments.
Yes. Yeah. Calliope is just a steam powered like organ,
yeah.
right? What is okay.
Yeah, it's steam powered. I think that they had them on riverboats.
Oh, well that would make sense.
Often, yeah, they ran off the steam of the riverboat. They had it on the riverboat so that it could be played far away from civilization.
Yeah, to keep the bandits away.
Right. It soured milk when they passed by farms.
They blamed changeling babies for the sound.
Exactly. So the guitar is really interesting. The bass, once the bass starts to come in and establish that rhythm, then that's when I started to feel like, oh yes, this is Jethro Tull. There's something very comforting and typical Tull tune about the rhythm once they get going, and it's something about that like it's like singing for a little bit and then the rhythm breaks and it's like dum 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 dum, and now it's time to sing another bit of the verse dum 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 dum.
Since you're talking about singing, it's another one of those from, was it Saturation maybe, where the singing just doesn't match with the
structure,
the structure, the instrumentation. Yeah, it's like the musicality of this song belongs straight out of Tull to rock and roll. I think it very much the sound pulls me into that album, but the singing is, I don't know, almost like passion play. I wouldn't put it with War Child.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And even some of the theming is very passion play adjacent, I would say, which we'll get into in a little bit. So then we do have, as you said, you mentioned the Miss Hatchet breakdown, and that's a really fascinating rhythmic departure from what they've established so far, and I really enjoyed that part.
That musical breakdown, I don't know, would you call it a bridge, I suppose?
I might be tempted to call it a bridge without being under too much duress. Yeah.
If I'm feeling frisky, I might call it a bridge if I've had a couple.
I might also just call it a rhythm change or switching up the drum part.
Okay. Is that not essentially what a bridge is, though? Or does a bridge have a little more structure?
Usually a bridge is a distinct change in the chord structure and then lyrics which are distinctly different from either the chorus or the verse. Now, in this song,
okay,
I don't really know that we have verse or...
Yeah, right.
I mean, we kind of have a repeating moment.
Mm-hmm. The good Godmother
portion. Oh, good Godmother,
what is the chorus, I guess?
What are you doing here? Mm-hmm. Here you come again. Yeah, the repeating of "Oh, good Godmother," and we have the musical bit that goes along with that. Oh,
it's a proto-chorus.
Oh my good God, which we have heard before in other Tull songs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is a very weird song, Nick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little stumped musically. Just wait till we get to the lyrics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all I have for music, if you want to jump right into said lyrics.
Well, there's one or two other things that I want to mention, and that is that we do have that lovely War Child sax.
Right, yes.
The only acceptable sax, in my opinion, is
the War Child sax?
Is this sax played by Ian Anderson on this album.
And it's really the only thing that sonically ties this song to War Child.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, unless, because again, War Child, looking at that big kind of overarching umbrella of a movie, unless this lyrically fits in somehow, which I would not be surprised if it did.
Could do. But I also think that this to me feels more like oh yeah, we had this song, we played it at these 2 clubs during that 1 week.
Right.
Let's record it for kicks. Oh, decades later, someone found it under a bed. Well, let's stick it on the re-release.
Yeah.
The sax at the very end does a little, in that outro, does a little bit of a lick that does remind me of Glory Road.
Oh, okay.
The sax,
sure,
like
I see that.
It sounds a little
Yep.
bit like that.
Yep. Guess how many? Speaking of playing this in
Yeah, okay.
like 2 clubs.
Uh-huh.
Guess how many times this has been played according to this site, setlist.fm.
Okay.
Guess how many times Good Godmother has been played?
I'm gonna go with 3.5. They started to play it a 4th time, but then Martin Barr had to go to the bathroom.
But then everyone's like, "What's this song?
What
We've
is it?"
never heard this before."
And they're like, just kidding. Here's a locomotive breath. So, how close was I?
You were off by 3.5.
It's been played 1 time?
0.
It's been
Did you say 4.5?
No, it's been played 0 times.
Yeah, from what I can see as documented, unless it was played once or twice and just no one knew the name of the song, so it just has not been documented in history, which I would not be surprised.
They played it at a B'nai Mitzvah, but the people from setlist.com weren't invited.
That's right. It was a pretty swanky guest list there. So they were not. Yeah, it was not guest list .fm. It was set list FM.
Indeed. So yeah, very unique sound.
Uh-huh.
Not super catchy in my opinion. I don't the flute hook makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's the closest thing to being catchy, but I certainly wouldn't want to catch it.
If I caught it, I would drop it as soon as I could and wash my hands.
I would immediately start a course of penicillin.
Yes. So now let's jump into the lyrics.
Sure. What overall?
Yeah.
What do we got here, Omen? What is this song? What are we?
Yeah, let's talk about some
do we have a story?
themes.
Do we have a through line? Is there even a theme?
Let's zoom way out and talk about like motifs, and maybe we'll start to make a little bit of a map, even if it's inaccurate. We'll try to identify the continents of the planet of Good Godmother.
Yes. Okay.
All right. First of all, the title, Good Godmother.
Yep.
A godmother is a godmother, like a fairy godmother, but without the fairy.
Right. Traditionally, a godmother is someone that you, like super traditionally, someone that you entrust your child's livelihood and raising in the eyes of God and the church
In the
should
event
you
of your
perish.
death. Exactly.
Yes.
But there's a little bit of a linguistic potential joke here, which it could be read as good godmother, or it could be read as good godmother.
Yes, right. Right. And we see progression of the addressing of the singer, the narrator, the first person, addressing the godmother here in terms of this proto-chorus that we were saying. It starts out, "Oh, dear mother, what you doing there? Oh, good godmother, what you doing here? Oh, my godmother, what you doing here?"
Oh my godmother, here you come again.
And then, "Oh, good godmother, here you come again." Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear mother, what are you doing there? Oh, good God's mother, what are you doing here? Oh, my God's mother, what are you doing here? Oh, good God's mother, here you come again.
Mm-hmm. There's a familiarity there, I think.
There is, and we always have the mention of the good godmother in the context of surprising the singer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, don't alarm me. Nothing can harm me if I close my ears.
But just even the phrases, "What are you doing there? What are you doing here?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely seems off-put, like maybe it in terms of feeling guilty or something along those lines. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this song is, Omen.
I'll give you, I mean, this could be way off, but I kind of feel, I get the impression that we have kind of a story, I use the term very broadly, of the singer going about their day and the morality or thoughts of or memories of this older female parental figure intruding on the daily doings of the singer.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's literal.
So like a psychic reminder of staying right in the eyes of God, basically.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's about behavior of the singer. Maybe it's just about like general repression or feeling.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff about behavior. Like if we take the first the first verse, if we can call it that. With the briefest wave in a fearful rush, I climb aboard the omnibus. So far, I failed to make the conductor laugh, but I'll join in with him if he does. Oh, dear mother, what are you doing there?
With the briefest wave in a fearful rush, I climb aboard the omnibus. So far I failed to make the conductor laugh, but I'll join in with him if he does.
It's a bit like, I have the impression of like, he's getting on the bus, he cracks a joke, he's going to work, the joke fails, obviously. And then he suddenly is it's like this, the spirit of this female figure being like, don't disturb the busman. It's very rude.
Yeah, maybe he tells like an off-color joke because the bus driver is like a working class guy and thinking in such terms makes him feel guilty by thinking about his godmother, something like that.
Or just like don't talk to people that you don't know.
Right, yeah.
And in fact, don't talk.
Right. I just want a little etymology note here. Omnibus, of course, is the lengthened version of bus. It is from the Latin meaning for us all, for everyone.
Oh.
That's the carriage, the great carriage that can carry
Right.
multiple people for the good of everyone.
Yeah, an urbidibus.
That's it. Urbidibus. Yeah, that's what it actually was originally. Yeah.
And I find it interesting that he says, don't remind me, get behind me, just sit in your silver chair.
Don't remind me, get behind me, just sit in your silver chair.
The image of a silver chair is very interesting. It's like,
Why?
well, it's like a
that
throne almost.
right? Is that like another version of like a high horse? You know?
Could be.
Is there an imagery thing there? I feel like there's a lot of imagery in this song that just isn't clicking for us, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sort of speaks, and this is like, again, just pure stream of consciousness, but it's like, you know, there are some people that you think of, you kind of enshrine them in your memory, and then sometimes, in a positive way, you're like, oh, this was this person who, like, was officially very good, and then sometimes, like, thoughts about them jump in that are like, oh, they told me off that one time, oh, they've affected my psyche.
Yeah, right. It's they've soured their presence in your mind, basically, you know?
Which, like, you know, every human relationship is very complex, but I do think that we have a tendency sometimes to enshrine our elders, and so I kind of get the impression that he's like, don't stop reminding me of what an awkward weirdo I am. Just go and get back in your picture frame where I can enjoy, you know, having fond thoughts about you.
Yeah, innocently enjoy you, yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
But then the next verse is, okay, there are sandbags out along the strand. They've all gone raving to a man. Make no excuses for lazy bones. No one to guard the old homeland. Oh, good Godmother, what are you doing here?
There are sandbags out along the strand. They've all gone raving to a man. Make no excuse for lazy bones. No one to guard the old homeland.
It sounds like going into a situation of danger.
Okay.
Sandbags along the strand could either... Sandbags are, you know, used both for flooding and also for barricades in war.
Right. Just to keep things separated, essentially.
Absolutely. And so this idea of like maybe he is going off to war, maybe it's the Blitz again, and then suddenly the Godmother is there shaming him for going into harm's way. Don't alarm me, nothing can harm me if I close my ears.
Don't alarm me, nothing can harm me if I close my ears.
The Strand, for the record, John, you can stop the email. I'll put it in here. The Strand in London is the major thoroughfare in central London, in Westminster.
Right. Is it close to the river?
That it appears to be on Google Maps.
Okay, well, you can't trust that, but yeah. So again, it could be about flooding, or it could be about
just like keeping him out of the road. Like, don't wander
Blitz.
in the road, you dummy.
Yeah, right. I have a lot of fond memories of my grandmother really being anxious about the fact that I was climbing extremely high up in an ash tree, and to me, it was like, well, this is great. I love.
Yeah.
I'll go even higher because it must mean that I'm really doing it. But I think that, there are parental figures who sometimes are overprotective. Don't climb that tree.
Sure.
Stop juggling that knife. Don't go into a war zone.
Or appropriately protective sometimes.
Also that, yeah. Right. Yeah. Don't go swimming after having eaten.
Right. Wrap it before you tap it. Yeah, those things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Your grandma didn't tell you that?
Oh,
Your grandma told me that.
She... God damn it. She had concern for the youth.
She had a table set up outside my high school.
So, initially I thought that this song was like a continuation of images, but now I feel like they're kind of disparate images. The first one is about going to work. The second is sort of about this dangerous, maybe war situation.
Okay.
The third looks like it's about working in an office.
Yeah.
The secretary, the sandwich girl have left to join the underworld. The files are empty, the lines are dead.
The secretary, the sandwich girl have left to join the underworld. The files are empty, the lines are dead. The accountant's blood is in the red.
Meaning they've been killed. They're dead, right? Or the underworld, like thievery, like something along those lines?
Or they've gone to the pub for the night and he's working late.
Oh.
It could be really either way.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's staying late at work and the memory of his godmother is being like, why, you all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah. I think our guess is as good as any at this point with this. I like where you're going with it. It's much more, and by much more I mean it's actually something, because I had nothing.
Well,
for this.
If we're gonna follow this train of thought, oh no, bridge is out, we're going down. Then I think that does tie in. If we do say he's working late and then his mother's like, his godmother's like, you should get some rest. The next thing he does is, oh, come on, Miss Hatchet, let me take you to a restaurant where the price is very cheap. We'll dance all night at the club round the corner till it's time to go to bed. Sleep.
Yeah, to bed to sleep, of course.
Oh, come on, Miss Hatchet, let me take you to a restaurant where the cat is very cheap. And we'll dance all night at the club around the corner till it's time to go to bed.
Sleep. And then we have this, the walls are shedding a lethal skin of TV active social sins. I wonder what that means, Nick.
The walls are shedding a lethal skin of TV active social sins.
TV active social sin.
TV active. I mean, is he complaining about sex on the television in 1975?
I don't know if he's complaining, but I do think that he is.
Right.
He's hinting at a sexy atmosphere.
Yeah. John, what did you have in 1975 for television channels? BBC 1 and 2, maybe?
And BBC 3, where they showed the ankles.
Oh, my stars.
Well, actually, though, the British censors, I think, have always been a little. Maybe I'm just totally making this up, but I think that in Britain's censorship of sex was a little less Puritan than it has always been here. I remember.
Yes, it's they're more so with violence than they are with sex, and we're vice versa.
Right. I remember being in England and seeing a big billboard. I think it was. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was from Milk, and the picture was of a breast with a baby suckling at it, like a photograph.
Yeah,
And
women can't feed their babies in public here, and yet they have a big billboard over there.
And I remember being 14 and seeing that and thinking like, oh, I shall do a horny now. But anyway, so we have him taking Miss Hatchet to the dance and then the drums are going crazy, and then, oh, good Godmother, here you come again. It's sort of like she's coming in and being like, not too much fun now, dear Ian. Why don't you read your Dr. Seuss sleep book and play Parcheesi?
Yeah, so she's the wet blanket, I guess. That's what we are to take. Like she is the puritanical wet blanket keeping him. She is the fictional embodiment of Catholic guilt, essentially.
Could be, yeah. I think that the temperature and moisture content of the blanket varies depending on the context. It almost seems like he's just like, whatever the thing is that he's trying to do, she's like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, she is constantly there, and he is constantly. She's a Tyler Durden. She's the straightest, most lame Tyler Durden there is.
Who's Tyler Durden?
From Fight Club? Brad Pitt's character in Fight Club?
Oh,
it's been a long time since you've seen Fight Club, clearly.
Been a long, yeah.
I saw it with you in high school.
Ah, the memories, Nick.
Yeah.
Where have they gone?
I couldn't tell you.
To me, this song, the dynamic of this song of like, I'm doing this thing, oh no, it's being checked by this other presence. I'm doing this thing, oh, it's being checked. Reminds me of my experiences with anxiety.
Okay.
Before I started taking meds for anxiety. It was always my brain being like, I would like, oh, I'll do this thing. And my brain would be like, are you sure you want to do that?
It's in the corner of your mind, like breathing into a paper bag, saying, no, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that.
Yeah, it was like anything. It was like, oh, it's like, do you watch The Great British Baking Show?
Yeah.
It was like Paul Hollywood. I was like doing my bake, and Paul Hollywood was like, oh, what kind of flour are you using? And I was like, this kind of flour. And he was like, oh, really? Okay.
Are you sure you want to use ground up daisies?
And I would be like, well, what should I do? And the Paul Hollywood part of my mind would be like, well, I'm not saying anything, but I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, it gave you nothing constructive. It just broke you down.
Exactly. And, now through a very small dose of medicine every day.
Ketamine?
It's not. It's gin and some lovely
mommy's medicine.
Yeah, and some lovely therapy. I find that I can just get on the omnibus and crack a joke, and if it doesn't go well, then on to the next thing. Doesn't matter.
Well, that was therapeutic to me.
Thank you. Yeah. Join us for our other podcast, Mumble Mental Health to Me.
Oh man, I got nothing else for Good Godmother.
Okay.
I like what you brought to the table.
Okay, thank you.
And I wouldn't dare question any more of it.
I want to ask you a question, Nick.
Yeah.
If this song were a pair of shoes, what kind of shoes would they be?
Why do you do this to me?
We haven't done it in a while. I was listening to some back episodes and I was like, oh,
this bit fails every time. Let's do it again.
I agree with our friend in the Middle East who says that we've improved. I listened to like a year back and we were like little weird podcast tadpoles, and now we're
yeah, it's I've toyed with the idea of going back and listening, and I just can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
I don't wanna.
Now enough evasion. Tell me about the shoes.
Pair of shoes.
Good Godmother shoes.
Good Godmother. Oh, okay. So they're a just too tight pair of like trainers that that aren't quite broken in yet. So they're just reaching the point where it's like they're comfortable and you can play your soccer game, and you think, oh, like, okay, these shoes are really working, and then you step the wrong way and it pinches a toe or something.
Yeah.
Just, like, you can't quite get into a full comfortable stride because it will always remind you.
Right. And they weren't quite the color that you wanted.
Right. They were the cheapest ones, and the ones that you wanted were sold out, so you have to deal with it. But
you get what you get and you don't get upset.
Go play football. Footy. Go play footy.
You've been playing footy for too long. Why don't you play the footy anymore?
I bought you those sneakers, and I've only seen you wear them twice.
Oh, Nick. Well, I think that wraps it up for Good Godmother.
Good Godmother does it.
Deep in the bottom of the Tull barrel.
Yeah, the very bottom. Yeah, we're.
Well, until next week, Nick, our dear listeners should stop whatever they're doing at this moment and write us a review.
You do like those boys at the Feckless Bones. Why don't you leave them a 5-star review?
Now there's no reason to write too much.
Be succinct. Don't waste their time.
Stop slouching. Drink your gin.
Don't look at the keyboard. What are you, an elementary student?
QWERTY. Until next week.
Omen, wait, what are we listening to next week?
I got so excited that I forgot. I don't know, Nick. What are we listening to next week?
We're listening to the sequel to War Child 2.
What?
Yeah, have you not heard this one either?
No.
Oh, goodness. And after that is Tomorrow Was Today. Have you not heard that one either?
Nick, I am in the weeds. I have forgotten my machete. I don't know where I am.
Oh, my goodness.
This is all new to me.
2 more weeks of brand new.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
That's exciting. Okay, so next week is War Child 2.
Until next week, I am the freshly husbanded Omen Thomas Sade.
I am the 9 years in married Nick McGill.
We've been married for 2 decades as Feckless Momes.
And this, over a year? No, this is still under a year. We're still in the honeymoon phase, apparently, of Talk Tull to Me.
You and I are like common law married twice.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, our actual marriages are probably not legal at this point. Don't forget to call me every Sunday.
Put down that fork. Don't eat your dinner with a salad fork, dear boy.
Oh, you monster. No baked Alaska for you.
Is that the scent of cigars on your coat? I thought we had talked about that.
Your curfew is 9 p.m. No later.
Evelyn down at the whist club will be ever so disappointed that you never returned her letter.
Do make sure your chaperone is around next time you partake in the dancing.
Please send back those rock and roll albums.
Do not listen to any podcast unless it's from the Feckless Momes audio network.
And always remember that Talk Tull to Me is a proud member of the Feckless Momes audio network.
Just a slow progression into madness.
The jelly has congealed on the bottom of my shoe.